have a little fun. Gonna have a little fun. Hold on a second.
We're happy you're here, Mrs. Griffin, Mr. Griffin, and we're glad you brought your 2 children and former Governor Chris Christie.
Oh, sweetie, I'm sorry everyone thinks you're a historically unpopular fatso from New Jersey.
Folks, to drink this evening, we've got red wine, white wine, and a 5th of bourbon. What'll you have, disgraced political oddity, Roger Stone? I'll take the 5th. That works on 2 levels. Weird.
Holy girl boner. Ivanka Trump has a gentle breeze indoors. Sometimes I wish I could meet someone else whose dad is a fat idiot who once had a hit television show and who over time has worn out his welcome. Meg, I think you look amazing in my brand of lifestyle products that are designed to represent a poor person's idea of what a rich person would wear. You know, Meg's dad is all... Shut up, Tiffany. Yeah, shut up, Tiffany.
Oh, was that Meg?
Hang on, he's still getting ready. Products and your fraudulent university and... Oh my God!
Oh, please. Every president since Washington has done this.
My darling Bess, tonight I'm going to drop the big one onto your Pacific Theater.
Dearest Martha. Press briefing in all of history, Mr. Griffin. You're not speaking to President Trump. That's a butternut squash.
Oh, Mr. President, please. I'm not interested. You'll regret this.
Oh my God. What would your third wife, the soft-core girl-on-girl porn lady, think about this? Or the actual porn star?
Pizza, catch! Kill him in front of me and I sex you.
That was my favorite part. that had me dying. That was my favorite part. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna get back into it, trying to just lighten the mood up a little bit. So, just to recap, so we know what a conservative is. We know what a progressive is. We did that already. So when Brandon or anybody tells you, try to give you their own definition or a spin on the definition, they don't go to like a reliable source. That's something as rudimentary as that. They can go on Wikipedia. They can go on dictionary.com. They could go on any of those dictionary or encyclopedia sites, and they'll tell you what it is, not a .org or a .com. And they may say something on point, they may not say something on point, but we need to really know and check out the sources and see where these sources are coming from. So, not to get too much into the news, again, with Donald Trump, I mean, he talks about everything except for what's going on right now. What's going on right now in the news is as far as like with Donald Trump, is unprecedented. This has not happened to any other president. Well, not any other president got away with such criminality as like Donald Trump has got away with, just astounding criminality, and it's Republicans mostly that's covering for him. So, and they use that and the weakness of the Democrats not able to push forward. I mean, now they're pushing hard, but if they would have did this from the gate, then it wouldn't have got this far. So, hold on one moment. Just real quick, I'm gonna give you a real quick update of Republican hypocrisy. Like, these Republicans like to talk about how Republicans are so honest and they're straight shooters, and but the Democrats is the worst thing, and all this, and all these other really fake type concerns when they're all corrupt, right? But the Republicans get away with murder in plain sight. They could literally just shoot somebody, like Donald Trump said. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and he'll get away with it. So they know that they're deplorable degenerates and no one can do anything for them because they are the elite, they are the powerful, and politically they're the ones that would get away with actual murder. So, they feel comfortable doing it. They have absolutely no problem doing it because everyone is going to go like, oh, well, it's just another day. I guess today's Tuesday. Nothing big to see here. So we're going to give you guys a real quick update. I'm going to give you a little bit of news here so you can really understand what's going on with the Republicans and why people like Pan-Africanism strikes back, the conservative, Zionist, they're not saying anything about politics. When everybody, even Republicans, saying things about politics, and they got to provide some sort of cover. But they know they try to provide some sort of cover that's going to make them look like king coons instead of just regular coons. So what they do, they just ignore it. And hopefully that'll go away. And they talk about all other topics like it's the utmost important thing right now when it really isn't, politically speaking. So let's show you what's going on here.
Former President Donald Trump invoked the Fifth Amendment, would not answer questions about under oath about a civil investigation into his real estate dealings. And after about an hour at the office of New York Attorney General Letitia James, he sent out a statement saying he declined to answer the questions under, quote, the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. Anything he said during the deposition could have been used against him in a criminal case. While James's investigation is civil in nature, the Manhattan District Attorney is running a parallel criminal probe. So what does it actually mean when someone invokes the Fifth Amendment? Many people assume the person pleading the Fifth must be guilty of an accusation. Fox 10's Nicole Garcia joins us live now to explain that's not necessarily the case, Nicole.
You gotta love Fox News. Like they tell the truth, and now remember back in the days when Bill O'Reilly used to be on there before he got fired for sexual misconduct, which is a thing for Republicans. He was probably grabbing pussy earlier than Trump, but when he was on, he was like, "Oh, this O'Reilly factor, the spin stops here," and that's just to indicate to let you know this is where the spin is going to start. So I even didn't see this, but all she's going to say something to the effect that, hey, it's your right as an American to plead the Fifth. So people will say do that because, you don't want to be forced or coerced in saying something that is really not. You shouldn't be forced to say something. You should be able to say something on your own accord. So you have that right as an American. But common sense tells you anyone that's innocent is not going to plead the Fifth. They're going to want to state their case. So if someone says, hey, look, you just say you had a Whole Foods or something like that, or Kroger's or a ShopRite or whatever, and one of the associates say, hey, I saw you steal some Starbucks coffee grounds or whatever. You're like, oh, I didn't. I still need coffee beans or whatever. And you don't even have you have nothing on you. And the person says something like, there's no way I could have stolen anything. And I'm going to explain to them what the misunderstanding is. You're not going to, if you say it's a misunderstanding, someone say, okay, how is it a misunderstanding? I plead the Fifth. If you're innocent and it is what you say it is, you would explain why it's a misunderstanding and it'll all get cleared up. So, yes, pleading the Fifth is a form of guilt. I'll give her like 30 seconds to explain the nonsense that she's about to say.
That's right, Christina. The Fifth Amendment was ratified in 1791, passed along with the Bill of Rights. Now, the Fifth Amendment affords some protections during the legal process to individuals. For example, the Fifth Amendment protects people from facing double jeopardy, and it also guarantees people the privilege to remain silent so as not to incriminate themselves.
You see, the mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
That was Donald Trump in 2016 during a campaign.
So it's total hypocrisy. Now, I didn't watch her explanation or anything like that. It fully like that because I'm trying to be unbiased here and give what their side. So they just undermined their whole point. They told the truth in the beginning, then the anger is going to say, "Oh, it doesn't mean if you're guilty," and then they're going to double down by saying the Fifth Amendment means this. Give you a history lesson, not something on common sense. Like I said, then they're going to show the video of Trump saying back then when he was running, "Oh, if you plead the Fifth, that means you're guilty." Like, what are you guys doing? They're all over the place. It's like double hypocrisy. Let's show another one.
When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth, I think it's disgraceful. Fifth Amendment. The mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible. He pleaded the Fifth, and that was the end. We never heard about him again. This is like Watergate. Only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets. Hey there.
That's our foreign enemies. Again, he had sensitive nuclear document information that's supposed to stay in a secure government facility. Mar-a-Lago is far from a secure government facility. And he has all types of people going in and out there. There's no real security like that. He had it like somewhere in the basement and shit like that. And how was that secure? So he was so concerned. Oh, wow, foreign enemies. He's friends with Putin, Kim Jong-il. He likes dictators. He like authoritarians. He will have them over, he'll have members of that country over there or stuff like that. Just having average dinner parties and you just have nuclear sensitive information down over there. Like, and a lot of people say, yeah, he's probably going to sell it. You don't keep something like that as a memento. You don't keep like, oh, this is a pen where I was doing all these executive orders. Ooh, I'm going to take this pen. Ooh, wow. I like this presidential mug. I'm going to take that as a memento. Ooh, and these nuclear secrets. I'm going to take that. It's not the same thing. And this is what Republicans are trying to shovel down people's throats. And just don't say nothing. Everyone knows you don't do that. Either you're stupid or you're fucking stupid to think that, oh, no, yeah, this is the same. A presidential coffee mug and nuclear secrets, right? And it has to do with national security. Trump was saying, hey, it has to do with national security. He didn't care about national security. Then why? Because he feels he's untouchable. The Mueller report pointed to collusion, right? So we know the Republicans are not going to do anything about that. So it's up to the Democrats to do something, but no, they ain't going to do it because it may expose their corruption. So they'll let that ride. So anyway, getting back to what we were talking about the last time before I signed off, we were talking about what is progressivism and what is conservatism. Now he gave you his half-ass bias, not pretty much just half truth of what it is. He didn't go to just an unbiased source. He went to something that's a semi-unbiased source, but it didn't stick to what the real definitions are. You could, like I said, you just go to Wikipedia, you can just go to a dictionary, and it'll just tell you what it is. But he didn't do that because he's trying to, I guess, beat y'all in the head like y'all idiots and you can't tell. So for those who don't know or can't tell, nothing wrong with that. If you're here, I'm going to tell you the real on what it is. I'll do the heavy lifting here, not a problem. So I'm going to recap again real quick what progressivism is and what conservatism is, right? So we can understand moving forward. So real quick, what's progressivism? Remember, he says it's extremism, shooting in the dark, you don't know what to do and you're just all over the place. That's what he said, right? So progressivism is a way of thinking that holds that it's possible through political action for human societies to improve over time. As a political movement, progressivism purports to advance the human condition through social reform, right? So they made socialism an ugly word, and we went through that, how a lot of people, and especially black people, especially middle class and poor people, are more progressivism, and we're more socialist. We're more socialist because what are socialist programs? Breakfast programs, right? Sometimes you have like a meal on wheels program, feeding people that are disenfranchised, right? The fire department is a socialist program because it helps puts out fires no matter whose building is on fire. It's the police, right? The police supposed to protect everybody, no matter of class, race, religion, economic status. There's socialism within the frame of America, right? Social reform based on advancements in science, technology, economic development. Republicans are anti-science. COVID-19 is fake. Y'all remember way back when it was first happening? These fools, Negroes and white people alike, they were first saying, nah, it's fake. COVID's fake. What do Republicans say? It's a Democratic hoax, right? And then when it became real, then these fools were saying it's the 5G towers. It's the 5G towers. It's the 5G tower. So it's the 5G tower. We know around there, not everyone had like 5G, right? People that I know, right, in Jamaica, Guyana, I'm not sure. Guyana might have 5G, but not everywhere has 5G. So if you were getting the virus through 5G, right? How you got people that just got 4G getting on coronavirus? It makes no sense. These are people that are conservative mentally. They don't want to take in any new information based upon science and technology to understand how these things work. So what they do, they go back to their primal fear of being afraid of something that you don't know, right? It's a very primitive, childish mindset. It's like being scared of the dark in your room and saying there's a monster under your bed. You go back to your primitive, primordial way of thinking instead of saying, hey, look, let's approach this logically, right? Economic development and I should wear my glasses, and social organization. Adherence to this way of thinking hold that progressivism has universal application, which means they're doing this to help everyone in society. It's not excluding anybody. Like conservatism, which we're going to get into, right? Universal application and endeavor to spread the idea to human societies everywhere. Progressivism arose during the Age of Enlightenment. We did that, right? The Age of Enlightenment. These modern conservatives, they're not even going taking what their former ancestors in Europe did as far as thinking clearly, right? Aims are relying out of the belief that civility in Europe was improving due to application of new empirical knowledge of governance of society. Early 20th century progressives include support of compulsory sterilization, the temperance movement, American engagement, okay, right? So that's progressivism, right? So we got that in mind, right? So we'll do conservatism real quick. Commitment to traditional values and ideas with opposition to change, not changing, or innovation. Commitment to traditional values. Whose traditional values? So we talk about conservatism in the context of the United States. We're talking about Eurocentric conservatism in the United States. That's what we're talking about, right? So we're talking about one specific cultural ideology within this country, which is the white male ideology, right? That and opposition to change. So any change to that paradigm is going to look frowned upon and use conservatism to conserve it, right? Or innovation, right? That impedes that. The holding of political views that favor free enterprise, and yeah, we did that already, and it's basically like they don't, like I gave you the guys that I did before, because conservatives always talk about, oh, we don't like big government. We don't like big government. What they mean when it comes to because look, this is the first country from my studies that first had a president. Back then, presidents were usually in control of companies, not nations, right? Other places have monarchs, kings, and whatever, right? So United States knew, like, look, we're about to be about business. So this new idea about small government in the constructs of business is like I told you before. You have FDA and the CDC. So if I have a restaurant and I have a chicken joint, and the chicken that I have is tainted, right? The chicken that I have is tainted. It has salmonella, and the burgers that I have has mad cow disease. The government is not, the FDA should not shut me down. I have freedom to sell tainted meats. Oh, why you want something else? You're doing that because you don't want me to make money. Well, sir, you have mad cow disease and E. coli and salmonella. Oh, that's fake news. I'm an American. You just don't want me to make money. That's the deep state. This is nonsense, right? Get the second last definition. Conservatism from dictionary.com. Why conservatism? The inclination, especially in politics, to maintain the existing or traditional order. Whose tradition? You already went over the tradition, European tradition, right? So for anyone that's a Pan-African or pro-Black to be cold-heartedly a Republican is disrespecting our ancestors. Is just spitting in their face. That's all that is, right? Because, like I said, Black people are more libertarian and progressive politically due to the fact that conservatism is just there to maintain the status quo, the natural order of what this country had. Remember, this country was only supposed to be successful for white males. And since this is a male-driven society, and Africans are not, most African society is not male-driven society. Is either symbiotic or it could be, female first or whatever, right? They have to maintain that. You as an African can't just be cold-heartedly conservative because it goes against your tradition. It goes against your tradition, you as an African, right? So what we have to do is adapt, not assimilate. Black conservatives are assimilating, and when you're assimilating, whatever culture you had, African black culture that you had, if you had it, you are now giving it up for conservatism, which is, again, the existing or traditional order of European ideologies and custom, a political philosophy or attitude that emphasizes respect for traditional institutions and opposes the attempt to achieve social change through legislation or publicity funded programs. So that's why. So if that's the case, these niggas don't like things like the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was created so for socially, right, for black people. There's a program that they have, and they hate asking the government to recognize us as human beings, which was civil rights, right? 40 acres and a mule, right? All these things that they want from the government, right? Voting Rights Act. These are going against the traditional. So anything that's amended, right, is being amended. It is an addition. It's a change to what the conservative ideology is, and that's why we have amendments, right? So glad that is said. So now that we understand what conservatism is, right? Going forward back to the Jimmy Dore thing that Brandon was talking about. Remember, all abortion, women, dying because of not able to get an abortion and all these other things. So a woman, is pregnant and the fetus dies or whatever, she has to get an abortion. The same procedure that they will have. Let's say a woman wants a pregnancy that she doesn't want. That's the same procedure if the baby dies, and if that fetus is not taken out of the woman, right? It could kill her, because you have like a fetus there. There's a lot of toxins in there and stuff like that, and it could kill her. And I shouldn't even say worst case scenario. This is still a worst case scenario. She will be no longer able to have babies, right? Because her uterus, runs risk of infection and all other medical mishaps that happens, right? So none of that's important. Remember, he goes on, oh, well, if I'm wrong about something, I've come on here and I corrected the record, which is bullshit. I never seen that ever. And I follow him for a while. I never seen that. It's like a unicorn. It's just something he speaks about that you never see, right? So, but all that stuff is not important. None of the stuff he's talking about is that important, right? But at least we have some respectable Republicans. I feel like, wow. I mean, I agree with on everything, but at least they're principled and they're not as deplorable as Brandon. And at least it's like, you know what? At least this is a guy that has a heart, some type of compassion, and say, well, you know what? Wow, I signed for this thing, and wow, I see the after the effects of it, and it's really taking life instead of saving life. I want to do this abortion bill thing because I thought it was going to save life, but I see it taking life. So just look at this right here.
I voted for the pain-capable bill, the fetal heartbeat bill, and fetal heartbeat has been for 6 weeks now.
This is you can see, South Carolina. Yeah, I think he's South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina right here. Republican, obviously.
Second week that the fetal heartbeat bill became law, a doctor called me out of Anderson. I live in Easley. A 19-year-old girl appeared at the ER. She was 15 weeks pregnant. Her water broke. And the fetus was unviable. The standard of care was to advise her that they could extract or she could go home. The attorneys told the doctors that because of the fetal heartbeat bill, because that 15-week-old had a heartbeat, the doctors could not extract. So their only choices were to admit the 19-year-old until that fetal heartbeat stopped. I asked, how long does it take to stop? She said, seconds, minutes, hours, maybe days, or discharge. They discharged that 19-year-old. The doctor told me at that point, there's a 50% chance, well, first, she's going to pass this fetus in the toilet. She's going to have to deal with that on her own. There's a 50% chance, greater than 50% chance that she's going to lose her uterus. There's a 10% chance that she will develop sepsis and herself die. That weighs on me. I voted for that bill. These are affecting people, and we're having a meeting about this. It took that whole week. I did not sleep. I followed up with the doctor a week later. She had heard nothing. Did not know about the 19-year-old. Thank God I followed up. 2 weeks later, she did return to ER. They did extract the now non-beating fetus. What we do matters.
Now, that is I don't know his politics or whatever, but this man is a human being. He's not a Republican monster, deplorable, despicable monster that pretends to care and doesn't care. All they care is about their political career. They care about being right. They care about how much money they're going to make. He's not like that. Hey, maybe I agree with 100% of his other politics. I don't know what's possible, but even if that's the case, I could say, hey, look, this man has some kind of decency, though. He has some kind of former decency, because at least he knows when he makes a mistake, and he's man enough, a real man. Not someone talks about, hey, I'm a man, and it's nothing but a beta bitch. He's a real man saying, hey, look, I made a mistake, right? I really thought I was doing something. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. I make mistakes, right? The thing about it is, since we all know we make mistakes, the thing is when the rubber meets the road, are you going to admit to that mistake that you made, right? And that shows what type of person you have and what type of character you have. Are you that type of person that could see you made a mistake and do that? Especially someone like him who's in a position of power, and he's like he said, he's like, what we do matter, right? These are representatives, right? What they do or don't do, what they vote for, what they do vote for impacts other people's lives, and I think they forget that. And they just think about just being right all the time, and what, how they're gonna make their donors look and stuff like that, and being accepted within this cult we call the Republican club with these MAGA maggots, right? That's all they usually care about. So, with that said, we're gonna go back to Brandon's video, and you're gonna see. So really, what he's basically gonna do here, right? As typical as it is, all he's gonna do is some character assassination on Nina Turner and stuff like that. He's gonna, even to the point where some of the people listening are saying, like, bro, you kind of hating on a black woman kind of hard, talking about like that. Agree with her politics. Don't go in on her personally. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about Republicans here. They're deplorable people, right? So, I mean, what's she gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And this is a part of the cult, right? So when FBA says, "Oh, well, we don't do that. That's that African stuff. That's that tether stuff where you say, oh, you're part of this group. I'm part of that group, and we different. We not the same." And according to FBA's leader Tariq, but this happens all the time in America. So we got Brandon's American, Nina Turner, she's American, and he's just simply hate her.
All right. I'm gonna pretty much end on that. I do apologize for last time I did this broadcast. I don't know, something happened with the audio. I don't know what was the deal with the audio. So I kind of got to like go through this all over again, which is no big deal. I made a lot of good points. I'm just going to stick to the script and hopefully, I'll get all those good points in. So picking up where I left off, I pretty much like I said, what I'm going to do, I'm pretty much going to show what Brandon is basically saying about Nina Turner. Now that you guys have a real life concept of what, conservatism is and what progressivism is, now you know where he's telling the lie, which is mostly lies, and where he's telling the truth, which is not a lot. So we're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna give him rope to hang himself. I love giving people rope to hang themselves. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna see what he is saying about Nina Turner and Jimmy Dore and the little examples he have. I'm not gonna, like I said before, I don't want to sit through the whole thing, but he is gonna make a point here that I've made of how he's extremely dishonest. He's not a man. He pretends to be a man. It's something he strives to be, because it's all about him being just honest with himself. If someone can be honest with themselves, they can't be honest with anybody else. So let me have him have his side of the whole situation, and I'm gonna critique what he's saying. All right, so let's do this. Where you at? What's the deal, yo? Hold on, y'all. I did. All right. So we're gonna start off right here. Like I said, all he's gonna do is base a bunch of character assassination, make fun of her, things like that. This dude kind of, I think he kind of, when he sees, like, I don't want to use the word strong black woman. When I say strong black woman or a black woman who is very strong in her convictions, I don't mean in the feminist way. Hell no. I just mean like, hey, this is a woman that's confident within herself and is going to speak her mind, period. Not in opposition with a man or men or anything like that. She has a husband and everything and stuff like that. So she's not in opposition to men in the conviction that she has, right? So he's going to talk about her and say, oh, she ghetto. Nah, not every black woman that speaks with heart is ghetto. The black women that's come across in your life may be like that, but that doesn't speak to everyone else. So let me continue.
Exactly how ghetto this chick is. Not Chantel Brown, Nina Turner. Sorry, Chantel Brown, classy lady.
Chantel Brown is a classy lady, but he not once showed her victory speech. Nina Turner lost, right? He's not showing any of her campaign speeches or anything, so you guys could do a comparison, right? He doesn't do that. Oh, he has blinders on. He just want to attack Nina Turner, his FBA sister, because she has a different political affiliation. That's it.
That the future that all of us dream about for ourselves and for our children and our grandchildren is just not possible. But we know in this room, we know that is wrong and that better days are ahead. Yeah. We know that there are so many fights that need to be fought and to be won. We know that we must and we will and we can raise the minimum wage. Yeah. We know that we must and we will have universal health care for all.
Minimum wage. I have not heard one Republican talk about raising the minimum wage. If there is, fill me in, let me know. I have not heard one Republican talk about raising the minimum wage. That's not even a Democratic agenda, because people like Chuck Schumer here, that's here in New York, he doesn't talk about raising the minimum wage. Maybe on OAC or Ocasio-Cortez, she spoke about that, but she is considered the progressive. But corporate Democrats and centrist Democrats in the middle, like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and stuff like that, they don't want none of that, right? So they're more conservative in their Democratic position than obviously a conservative. But conservatives don't talk anything about that. Their whole thing is to hate the other people, beware of the other people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, those other people trying to do that. It's all fear mongering. What are Republicans, any Republican representative trying to, that doesn't involve other people? What are Republicans doing to make American people's lives better? What policies do they have that will make American lives better, where it doesn't hate on other people or demonize other people? What's wrong in this country? You ask the conservative, what's wrong in this country? Oh, these Mexicans and open borders. Like, okay, all right. What about healthcare? What about the minimum wage? What about infrastructure? None of that. Oh, everything has to do with other people. It has to do with immigrants, China, BLM. It's all fear mongering. Where you have her like, hey, look, I want to be a senator, and I want to have this position so I could do things for people. She's not pointing out, well, I can't do it because of these people. And if I come in this position, I'll be able to do it because those Mexicans and immigrants and tethers are stopping the other representative from doing it, but I'm going to do it. She's not talking like that.
You know that we live and that we must have an energy future that does not destroy Mother Earth. We know that we will and we must ensure that justice and equity for all exist in this nation. Just in the last few days, we have seen that the right-wing U.S. Supreme Court is prepared to take away the freedom of a woman to control her own body. The draft decision that was leaked is so radical that it could mean a woman who was raped and became pregnant would have to carry that pregnancy. That's how radical they are. That a 13-year-old little girl who became pregnant because she was abused by a family member would have to carry that pregnancy to term. What is the liberty for those women? So as...
Hold on. I kind of want to address something here. To expose the 7th grade education of Brandon's audience.
When U.S. Supreme Court is prepared to take away the freedom of a woman to control her own body. The draft decision that was leaked is so radical that it could mean a woman who was raped and became pregnant would have to carry that pregnancy. That's how radical they are.
Grandstanding 3. Bernie has a whole mob of mammies. Okay, so she's a mammy, but Diamond Silk isn't. Man, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Freaking idiot.
A 13-year-old little girl who became...
Yes, he has the preacher etiquette down pat. Yeah, preachers are very good. You know, they got the gift of gab, right? Even Brandon here, supposed to be a Pan-Africanist, he sounds like a Pan-Africanist that buddied up with a missionary, because all he spits is Bible rhetoric. Like, Miss Berry, you're an idiot. You're disrespecting the host and the host on this channel. You don't even know it.
Became pregnant because she was abused by a family member would have to carry that pregnancy to term.
This is what I wanted to address. This earth ain't going nowhere. And he said she ghetto. This earth ain't going nowhere. We might, but the earth will still remain. What? So okay, so you don't care about saving the earth. I assume that's what you're doing, because this makes no sense. This is retarded. Yes, the earth is not going to go nowhere. I don't know if I don't know if she's in opposition to climate change, but the kind of tangent she was on, I don't know. I think she's siding with Brandon, but she is right. The earth is not going nowhere. We might. The earth is going to be fine and bounce back. The earth has been through many extinctions. Went through several mass extinctions, and we always bounce back. We may not be able to survive our own inevitable extinction that we have control over. So that's why climate change is something that needs to be addressed with the earth. Yes, you're doing it to the earth after the carbon monoxide emissions, everything precipitates, and then it goes away, and the ozone layer fixes itself like it has done before, then it will bounce back. But when it does, were we able to survive all the cataclysmic things that's happening here on Earth? Is mankind able to do that? Or as resilient as the cockroach and the rat? Cockroaches are, in case you don't know, cockroaches are, I believe, thousands, if not millions of years old. They can survive nuclear cataclysmic events and stuff like that. That certain creatures here are just resilient, like reptiles. Reptiles will be your frogs, your alligators and snakes and stuff like that. They survived the mass extinction of the dinosaurs 60 million years ago, but they're still here, right? And lizards, they're survived. Are we going to be as resilient as those people, right? But we're talking about to the conservatives, I already spoke way over their head, because I'm talking to something that's like high school and and something beyond the GED. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something that any scientist or anyone that understands life science or just science in general will know that this is something that is just reality. But anyway, I'm going to continue. But we're talking about conservatives here. They don't want to change. And I already told you that they're one of the most uneducated political parties to date.
What is the liberty for those women? So as we reflect on this loss tonight, please, please, please stay with me as we continue our justice journey.
Yeah, her son is an officer, and she thinks she has all the truth. I don't get it.
Together. The powerful corporate interests may still be able to buy an election, but do not let them rob you of your hope, of your dignity, of your pride, of our future. Because if they do that,
see, this is the problem with her. All the other garbage she just talked about, the earth and abortions, that's, that, whatever. Believe what you want, lady. You're a lunatic.
You hear what he just said? The earth and abortion. Believe what you want, lady. And she's a lunatic. Again, this sad, short lump of CeeLo Green looking dude is extremely disgusting. Like I said before, he doesn't care about women being raped and can't get an abortion, right? He doesn't care about little girls being raped and can't get abortion. He doesn't care if a woman has to die carrying a dead fetus. He doesn't care if a woman gets sepsis from carrying a dead fetus that's no longer viable. To him, that's crazy if you want to get an abortion. Trying to save the earth and have some type of conservation, that's crazy, right? He called her a lunatic. Believe what you want, lady. No, my Christian brother in Christ, that's who you are, not me, right? We're not doing belief. I know it's hard to get your reptile brain around this. This is not belief. This is facts. This is based upon what I just read the tenets of progressivism is. Based upon science and technology. You're dismissing her based upon her saying it's a belief. No, it's your belief that she's wrong. She doesn't need belief because she has proof. She has evidence. She's backed by American scientists and other scientists in China, in Canada, Europe, everywhere. They all come to the same conclusion. What you're doing is a belief system, right? Because like this dude is not rich at all, right? But the white man got his hand up his behind, and he sees it, and he has complete control of what's going on. But he keep talking whatever white man says. He's climate change. That's fake. He's gonna keep repeating that. He's like the tool of the fossil fuel industry, right? So I should have did that, but I didn't do it again. But I'll tell it. So remember, I told you guys about one of the definitions of conservatism. They want little government. They want small to no government. They don't want anything impeding their ability to do business, right? They don't want anything doing to impede them doing business, right? So he certainly is. He is extremely dishonest, the Cure. And the thing that eggs me about it, he knows he's being dishonest. He knows he's being dishonest because he's not stupid. If he was an idiot, then I'm like, guy's an idiot. He don't know what he's talking about. Brandon knows what he's talking about, but he's going to say something dishonest. And when that talking point is coming from a group or a leader, and everyone repeats the same thing that group, that leader says, and that group just repeats it, that's how you know you're in a cult, right? So Trump has turned politics into a cult, right? So going back to what I said, they want to do little government, small government. And the example that I use when it comes to this, like I said, I love science. I'm a bit of a science head, right? So everyone knows that lead and humans don't mix. If you put lead within the system, you get brain damage. A woman is pregnant, you get birth defects, things like that. But we really didn't have a complete understanding of what lead is. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, a couple of years ago, he did this show called The Cosmos with Carl Sagan. But Carl Sagan, if you didn't know, is his mentor. And, and because of Carl Sagan was his mentor, he now has Carl Sagan's job right here in New York. Neil deGrasse Tyson in charge of the planetarium, and he hosts The Cosmos, right? So in one of the episodes of The Cosmos, it was basically talking about politics and basically how people have an ideology and how science had to fight. Really, human beings are just idiots, right? And he had to convince them, but then it came to the point. So this is the story. So when gas first came out, when you guys go get gas, right? All the gas says unleaded gas. Unleaded gas. Why does it say gas says unleaded? We do know that paint, right, used to have lead in it, right? So if anyone you have like if you ever rented an apartment or bought a house and stuff like that, when it does certain inspections and stuff like that, they have to be on some like, okay, what's going on with the walls? Is Is it free of especially depends on how old the house is. So the house goes back like up to like the 50s and 40s and stuff like that. You want to make sure that it's like lead free, asbestos free, right? Because they used to use the insulation. They used to use which have asbestos in it, and we found out that that's also cancer. So lead free and asbestos free. And everyone knows, like especially if you rented an apartment, they want to say, hey, it's lead free, because what was happening back in the days when paint chips, right? The lead paint that you have there, it chips, infants, toddlers, they take the lead chips and they put it in their mouths, because they were like, hey, they were noticing a lot of children were having a lot of mental issues, right? And it was the lead chips that they were eating since they were like toddlers, right? And that affected the brain. So anyway, back to the whole cosmos thing. So the scientist, I forgot the scientist's name, I wish I had it up. And he was saying, hey, look, the gas, he was noticing a lot of things happening from the mass production of gas and people buying automobiles. So more people, automobiles got more affordable. So more people started buying automobiles. So more people started pumping gas. So the more people started pumping gas, you notice all these things within society that was going on, like I mentioned. So anyway, long story short, he proved it. And the only people that was fighting him back were the fossil fuel companies. The fossil fuel companies were saying, that's not true. That's not true. Nothing wrong with our gas. And it's not the lead. It's not the lead. And all types of crazy. And eventually, obviously, he proved that it was the lead in the gas. So now, when you go to the gas station, for some of you who know, it will say unleaded, right? So that's something that science had to force upon the government to do it, in order to do it, to say and recognize, like, hey, look, this is not my personal feeling or anything like that. This is the science of it, right? So that's how Brandon is being totally dishonest, right? And saying all types of nonsense about, oh, Nina Turner, she's crazy, believe what she will. Da, da, da. So, like I said, he doesn't care about life and women dying. And he doesn't care about children or anything like that. He just simply doesn't. You just heard him. He said, believe what you want, lady. That's nonsense. Like he just totally dismissed her, not on anything credible. He totally dismissed her based upon his political affiliation that he has. Let's hear him say it again.
Yeah. Jeffrey Turner Sr.
Hold on.
He's the president. Oh.
I think this is acting slow. Sorry about that, y'all. Things is acting a little bit slow.
Not let them rob you of your hope, of your dignity, of your pride, of our future. Because if they do that,
see, this is the problem with her. All the other garbage she just talked about, the earth and abortions, that's, that, whatever. Believe what you want, lady. You're a lunatic. That's fine. But when you...
Lunatic, that's fine. So, like I said, what he's doing is conservatism, because he doesn't have to have facts. He just has to have feelings. All he has to be is have a feeling that he just disagrees, and his feelings validate whatever he's going to say next. It has nothing to do with common sense. It has nothing to do with facts. It has nothing to do with science. It has nothing to do with technology. If I hear something that I don't like, me as a conservative, I'm supposed to fight that because I don't understand it or I don't agree with it. Why don't you understand? Why don't you agree with it? Because I don't like how it sounds. Break that down for me. They won't be able to, because now they have to think. They have to at least have two brain cells to rub together in order to come up with a logical explanation to explain their position, right? So I'm gonna let him hang himself a little bit more, so we already know that he's just a horrible person, right? I'm gonna speed it up a little bit more. This is basically character assassination.
Like Chantel Brown's been in the position and they like what she did versus Nina Turner, who's about to...
But he's not going to show anything about Chantel Brown. I don't know. Look, I don't know Chantel Brown's politics or anything like that, but I will have to check her out. But she's probably a real deplorable, because if he was so proud of her, why didn't he put her up? She's not showing examples of her? Why did he show her victory speech? He's showing Nina's her speech of her losing. If she's so great, why don't you put her up showing, oh, this is what she's gonna do for Ohio? And then no, not doing that. It's all just basically about character assassination. That's all that it is.
Of Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, I'm unbought and I'm a boss. And that's why that money came in here. Of Congress.
She rejected herself. But what we do is we sit up and try to, the Democrats, the liberals, they're better than the moderates and the no, they're no better.
Yes, they are better, because the moderates are on the fence. Moderate means middle. So if you're a moderate, you're like, you're not really here. You're like this new party that Andrew Yang is trying to do. They're gonna have a party where we're not gonna take no position. I think Andrew Yang is only doing that so he get everybody from both sides of the aisle to get some strength, and then later on they're gonna change their position. So yes, it's better than being a moderate, because at least we could see the snake coming if we know to listen for the hissing and see him slithering on the ground.
Nina Turner's no better, as you're going to see. But now Nina Turner goes off script. She puts down the phone. So let's see how she really acts when she's not reading.
Sister Turner ain't going nowhere.
Well, whatever. I'm not concerned about that. We're gonna go to the whole Jimmy Dore thing about him on Jimmy Dore, and this is gonna be sweet. This is gonna be nice, because he really didn't do his homework, or he did, and he's like, "Oh, sure, I can't say anything about that. That's gonna undermine my whole position." So we're gonna go here.
That you want me to be? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for talking against you. I'm sorry for talking against you, Massa. Now, because she's given up on the progressive stuff. She realized that the progressive stuff is not going to get her what she ultimately wants the most, which is a seat of power within the United States Congress. So now that she realizes that, she's falling in line with the mainstream Democratic Party.
Well, no, that's not true, but I'll prove that.
Now she's trying to show them, look, I could be the good little mammy that you want me to be. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for talking against you. I'm sorry for talking against you, Massa. I'm going to fall in line this time.
Before you
go ahead.
Nothing more. Before you play that clip, I gotta say something. This shows you that why we shouldn't be voting, period. Because they've had this problem for a long time in both parties, on the Republicans and Democrats. But it seems that every time they said all is dark money, yes, there is elite money that run the politicians. But for them to sit there and make that with all the evidence is out now, saying that you have all this going on, mismanagement, working, paying someone while they're not working. How is this not?
I love that man, and I hear you do too.
I do.
So I am thrilled.
Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. So don't forget, guys. Nina Turner used to be loving on Jimmy Dore. He's my husband.
He's lying. He's lying, and I will give you the backstory. He's not giving the backstory. She was never loving Jimmy Dore, and he skipped this. I'm gonna see if he's gonna mention it.
And all this stuff.
Yeah, so Brandon's just gonna lie again. So what happened? He skipped this part. Jimmy Dore was a progressive. So Jimmy Dore, being a progressive, being on TYT, Brandon just showed a video of Nina's on speech. That was a TYT broadcast, right? So Nina Turner comes on TYT, right, while Jimmy was there. So they know each other, right? Right, because they have the same political affiliation, right? So this video over here was before Jimmy jumped ship to the Republican side, because they will offer him a bag, and the scam is that he's going to be a moderate. That's the whole scam, that I'm a moderate. Why? Because I start off on TYT, and TYT pretty much springboard whatever, if you want to call it, a career that he has right now, springboard his career right now, and he's supposed to be this pretend moderate, but he has to say certain thing to concede to the conservative ideology. So this was being shown because, like, Jimmy's saying, hey, we used to be cool, and so like I said, but Brandon's dishonest, so he's definitely not going to say that part. He's not going to give you the backstory.
Exactly.
So I don't know if I don't want to bury the lead, but Nina Turner went off the rails the other day on Twitter, calling anybody who criticized her an anti-black racist. And let's just remember what she used to say about me.
And my husband, Jimmy Dore, will be interviewed.
And like I said, you guys will see it. I want to be fair. Someone has to be fair in black politics, and I'll be that person.
Oh, and I'm
Jimmy Dore. Now I'm meeting the woman.
Yeah.
Where he's behind the operation.
Exactly.
Okay, now I know where all that power comes
Are you kidding? I love that man, and I hear you do too.
I do.
So I am thrilled. All right, I know I'm going to see you in a minute.
Jimmy Dore say stuff that I can't say.
I know.
So he my.
What do I say that you can't say, and why can't you say it? I say the truth about politics that she can't say, or she would lose her space inside the establishment politic machine.
Yes, because you, Jimmy Dore, is just a so-called political commentator. So you don't have to have tact in when you say certain things. And everybody knows that. That's without being said. If you think you go on there, well, I'm sorry, unless you're Trump and you say a bunch of stupid, xenophobic, racist nonsense, then yeah, if a Republican do that. But she's not running on a Republican ticket. And you know that, Jimmy. You knew that back then, and you know that now. So of course she's gonna say, "Hey, Jimmy says things that I can't say." Yeah, because you can't say that, because you can't. You have to deliver your message in a certain way. You're running for a state, right? Obviously with certain people in mind, but you still representing the state.
That's what that means. And that's okay.
Is it wild? The more power that they get, the less power they have.
The more power
How
they
is that
get, the less
possible?
power. Here we go.
I know.
So he my alter ego.
All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.
So I'm her alter ego. I say things she...
Yes, that means she's in agreement with things that you say. She's just not going to say it how you would say, because you don't have anybody to answer to.
Can't say she loves me.
Sorry about this, guys.
What goals you have.
And then she said this in June. She said, demanding better from Democrats makes you a good Democrat.
Remember this, y'all. Remember this. Look at the timestamp, everything. Remember this.
Oh. Demanding better from Democrats makes you a good Democrat. And she said that June 26th, that's what it looks like to me. And I say that's a good point, Nina. Thank you. Not a lot of Democrats say that kind of stuff. So it's refreshing to hear that Nina Turner, she's all right.
Yeah, alter ego.
But then, if you look at this video, when we actually did that, when we actually demanded more from Democrats and we asked them to force a vote for Medicare for all in the middle,
is ultimately
And so we decided to pressure them to use their power, and they didn't, and they lied. And then she gaslit us and lied.
That's not me, yo. I don't know why Nina keeps popping in and out. That's either Brandon or Jimmy doing that. Like, I don't know why that's doing that.
And protected politicians. You want to see it? Here she is protecting politicians and shitting on activists.
It's okay to be disappointed, but the squad is ultimately the best that we have in terms of being able to push an agenda. And what that means is,
and what that means is we're not going to get an agenda. That's what that means. Because they're not pushing anything. They're rolling over for the establishment at nuclear speeds.
Means I hope you don't need insulin, Chief.
Yeah, here we go.
that you
Whoa,
might
whoa,
not
whoa,
always
whoa, 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 whoa! He just shot. That dude just shot himself in the foot, then shot Jimmy in the head. So we're talking about insulin, right? The person, Joe Manchin, owns a pharmaceutical company, and the EpiPen, right? I think his daughter's in charge of that. They raise the prices on EpiPen, knowing they have the monopoly on the market. They raise the prices for EpiPen, knowing that it's something that's very hard to get, and something hard to afford. Not all people could afford it. So it's like, how that has nothing to do with Nina, with Nina Turner or the squad. That's just nonsense. That's just nonsense. Medicare for All is a program so drugs and other things could be cheap, right? So you're able to get it. So that's not something that we have right now. So Joe Manchin and his daughter, they're more concerned about what? As all business supposed to do, maximizing profits. And if they maximize those profits, that money has to come out of somebody's pocket, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, Security. He said, what can I say? He has some useless people who drink up his MAGA nonsense. Yeah, for people who can't think for themselves. Like, you know, they don't like to do the intellectual lifting. You know what I'm saying? Brandon appears to do the heavy lifting and is not really heavy lifting at all. The only kind of lifting Brandon be doing, you know, them when you go to like a gym, they got those 15-pound, 10-pound weights that are pink and lavender and stuff like that. That's what Brandon is lifting up, and these idiots thinking that he's bench pressing the big black steel iron weights. Like, nah, this is stupid. This is stupid, right? But we're gonna get back into it. Right here. Hold on. So I just want to play it. Oh, and also I don't want to make it seem like I'm not addressing what they're saying about the whole thing with the squad. Now, I am not saying that the squad is the answer for this, that. Yeah, you could disagree with people, agree to disagree, and things like that. Because I don't agree with everything that they do, and do they and can they at times do roll over? Yeah, they do. But are anyone, like I said before, are the conservatives doing anything for everyday people except for saying hate this person, stay away from that person? We're gonna put a bill to do this because you got to fear other people. No, the conservatives not trying to raise the minimum wage. So all the black people in Kansas, in Mississippi, in Alabama. Well, what, like y'all minimum wage was like $8-9 or whatever. Y'all you could barely survive off a minimum wage. But no, we gotta get these Mexicans out of here. Okay, fine. If you're conservative, that's good. Okay, but what you gonna do for me directly? Anyway.
Disagree with the methods. I need people to understand that when you are on the inside, it doesn't mean that you are selling out. I know they've gotten a lot of pressure, but they are the ones up there holding it down.
Holding what down? I've seen a million people besides me ask that question. What is the squad holding down? They're not holding down anything. They're rolling over at warp speed for Israel, the establishment, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Wall Street, and the military-industrial complex. Now,
I'm going to disagree with him there because you have No, not Rashida Tlaib. Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar. She's also a part of the squad, right? And this is where Jimmy's lying. She said something about Israel. We're spending too much money on Israel. She had a speech about that, and she said something about all about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins, basically saying, "Oh, all the United States care about is money." Right? Because the only reason why the United States supports Israel because it's a United States ally in the Middle East. They have a base there. Israel's on their side, so they fund Israel. Our tax dollars. You don't hear like as racist and anti-Semitic conservatives are, like the Charlottesville and the alt-right saying the Jews will not replace us and all this other stuff. You could say that, hey, they hate they hate that, but Trump still look. Jared Kushner is Jewish, and that's his son-in-law, right? Trump loves Netanyahu, right? Was the right winger president in Israel, right? Trump didn't say, "Oh, we need to stop giving money to Israel." No, Trump kept giving money to Israel, and he gave money to the Saudis. Jared Kushner just took a couple $1 million from the Saudis, and they're trying to say, well, you know what? Maybe he took a couple $1 million from the Saudis because Donald Trump got the nuclear secrets. Right, and he was probably trying to say, why is Jared Kushner getting money from the Saudis? So when it comes to that, Jimmy is lying, right? Do they roll over for probably some, for some other corporate incentive? Yeah, I'll say they do that, but everything that he says, that's what I'm saying, is what a politician does. It's a half truth, especially conservative. They're gonna probably tell you like 25% truth. Right. So, yeah, I do agree with that. So, with all that said, this is what we're going to do. So, now that Brandon said that, so we know Brandon's position is he doesn't care about women getting raped. He feels, like I said, he's not going to speak on it. He says that he pretty much feels that, hey, women should carry a rape baby because Republican states that's against abortion, you can't even get an abortion even for rape. You can't get an abortion even if your life is in danger. If the mother's going to die, oh, well, I guess you're going to die. Right? So this is Brandon's position. This is, and also he doesn't care about global warming. As an African, we depend on the earth. Everything we get, we see our creator, our God, through the earth. We see it. You look at any Orisha or Yoruba tradition or anything like that, most African traditional religions have the planet that we have as we deify it. We deify it. So for a person that says they're African or claim to be African in any sort of way and say F the earth and all this other stuff, it's like what? It's like you still have a European mindset. You still have a European mindset to be saying F the earth, right? Africans, like when Europeans went into Africa and they did all this mining and all these other things, all the toxins and all these other things that they do to do the mining just destroys the area where they're in. It goes into the ground and it just destroys the chemical composition of the soil, and it can't grow anything, right? F the earth. This is a Negropean pretending to be African centered, which he is not. So anyway, we're going to go back. Hold on a second. We're going to go back and we're going to show you the other side of what really going on. I'm going to show you the relationship between how Jimmy Dore got to where he is and what type of person Jimmy Dore is as a person, right? That led up to this, and why you can't really listen to Brandon or Jimmy Dore when it comes to this. So Brandon's saying that, oh, Jimmy Dore went in on Nina. He's using race. Nina Turner's using racism as an excuse, and there was nothing racist that he said. It wasn't racist. It's trauma bonding. None of that. No. So we're gonna go here, and I'm gonna give you what's going on between her and Jimmy. Remember, he showed TYT. Now, Jimmy Dore, like I said, started on TYT, and he springboarded into wherever he is in right now. So Brandon would even think enough to do some homework and see what's going on with TYT, even though he's posting TYT stuff, right? To see, quote unquote, unbiased, but he's not a good person at doing homework. So I'm just going to let it rock.
So let me just say that off the bat. And this story has to do with Nina Turner and ridiculous people attacking her. But before I get to those details, let me just preface it by saying, when it comes to putting a show together, it takes a lot of work, a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of production work. We don't just come on air and speak off the cuff without having an entire production process behind it. But then there are people who literally just spend their time going on Twitter, accusing people of things they haven't done, causing all this drama, and then they spend all of their time just talking about the drama and reading tweets on their show. And in that regard, I give you Jimmy Dore, one of the laziest, untalented people literally on the planet. And so he decided, Nina Turner tweeted something, why don't I attack her? She tweeted this: my prediction of the fallout of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago is that we're probably going to see a bunch.
See, now Brandon didn't show that. He showed a tweet that had nothing to do with the follow-up. That's what Jimmy did. Because what was it? The timestamp on that one about the Democrats, that was in June, right? This is August, right? This is August 8th. This is a couple of weeks ago, right? So you see the tweet right here.
Of MAGA Republicans call to abolish the FBI. That is it is a fact. She has made an observation, and that observation has been proven to be correct based on all the MAGA chuds calling for the FBI to be defunded.
Okay, first of all, it's completely inoffensive. And it turned out that it was an excellent prediction. You could even do hashtag Nina was right. They literally called for that right afterwards. So that's good observation skills. That means you know how the right wing's going to work. And she's pointing out the irony and the hypocrisy.
Right.
Which is what progressives do. Hey, isn't it ironic that they say, hey, and literally that's what we said on the show, when they go after unarmed black men, they shoot them, they love the cops, but when they are raiding a billionaire's house, all of a sudden the cops are bad guys. I can't even begin to see where the issue is here unless you're trying to get some fame off of attacking a well-known progressive.
So Republicans love the FBI when the FBI is weaponized against the left. When the FBI sends a letter to MLK telling him to kill himself. They love the FBI when they engage in that kind of behavior. But when the FBI has the audacity to stop the victimhood, that's trauma bonding, investigate a potential criminal act by a member of the elite, someone like Donald Trump, they hate the FBI. So I thought that tweet was great. But Jimmy Dore, in his thirsty quest for content, so he doesn't have to actually do any work or give you reporting on actual news, decided to quote tweet this and said, when lefties cheer on the FBI, you know there's...
Now, this whole... Before I let them go, why would Jimmy Dore respond to her like she lied? She didn't attack Jimmy Dore. She didn't say anything about Jimmy Dore. She's talking about, remember, according to Brandon, Jimmy is a moderate or a centrist. He's not a conservative. Only people that would be upset with the truth, because the truth doesn't favor conservative, would be a conservative. If he was something of the moderate, he would not be criticizing what she's saying. He would be agreeing with what he's saying. Even as I showed you here, you have some conservatives with the whole abortion bill is that, hey, look, okay, my faith says that all life is precious, but I've got to rethink it, and that's fine. So not all conservatives gonna be like mentally deadlocked in a way or of thinking. But if you're supposed to be a moderate or somewhat of a progressive, why would you be mad at this? But I'm gonna let them explain.
Serious about being a Democrat. What?
The New York Times calls breaking.
Sorry,
Impressive
guys.
Update to Dog Day afternoon. It's a tightly.
Sorry about that. I cannot.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe my comprehension skills are not up to par, Cenk. Where exactly did she cheer on being a Democrat?
All right. So it says when lefties cheer on the FBI, they're serious about being a Democrat. It says it right there, y'all. Where was she cheering on the FBI? So this is a very sad attempt of her trying to vilify her, of cheering on the FBI when she spoke out. She spoke out against. Only people she spoke out against was Trumpers, MAGA maggots, and Republicans. She didn't say anything disparaging about the FBI. She said, my prediction of the fallout of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago is that we're probably going to see a bunch of MAGA Republicans call to abolish the FBI. And that's what they're doing right now. They're calling to abolish the FBI. She's kind of predicting what's kind of happening right now. So Jimmy Dore in no way, shape, or form is moderate. Not at all. To him, this is offensive. Or like Anna said, maybe he's just attention whoring. But he's attention whoring to get brownie points for conservatives.
What? I mean, I don't know. Maybe my comprehension skills are not up to par, Cenk. Where exactly did she cheer on the FBI?
And look, so he's doing a classic right-wing thing. That's who he is these days. Not just attacking progressives, never criticizing the right wing. Part of what he's doing there is he's protecting Donald Trump. So he's saying, oh no, the FBI, everything the FBI does is bad. So them going after Donald Trump, then by definition is bad. All the lefties that are still watching me, the three of you, remember Donald Trump good and must be protected. And Nina Turner is a right-winger? What on God's green earth, right? No, you knucklehead, as with all of your MAGA friends, Jimmy, it's possible that the FBI can do a good investigation. For example, they've stopped a number of right-wing domestic terrorists from murdering people, where they can go, hey, credit to them. That's a good investigation. I'm glad they stopped that. And it's possible that the FBI can do terrible things. And then as a news person, you would tell your audience, this is when they did good, this is when they did bad, right? Instead, no, FBI bad. They're going after beloved Trump. Don't do it. The only people who are bad, progressives. By the way, I'm on the left. Are you?
Now,
my sentiments exactly.
Jimmy Dore has been attacking Nina Turner pretty relentlessly since he's made his pivot to the right. And let's be clear, he's a right-winger. He is.
100%.
Right-winger.
If you're a left-winger who still thinks Jimmy Dore is on the left, when he never criticizes Trump, Tucker Carlson, anyone in the right wing, never, ever, ever does it, and only attacks people on the left, and forget corporate Democrats. We hate corporate Democrats. He attacks the most progressive people in the country. And you still don't get that he's not on the left? Oh, I feel terrible for you. Jesus. And there's no hope for you anyway. Go watch him. No hope at all.
So Nina Turner slaps him down. When Jimmy Dore knocks a black progressive woman for pointing out conservatives' hypocrisy when it comes to the FBI, you know he's serious about being anti-black and protecting conservatives. He loves to protect conservatives, and there's a reason for that. He has audience capture issues because his audience is overwhelmingly right-wing. If he ever says anything that's even a little critical of a right-wing politician, they lose their minds, and I'll provide evidence of that in just a moment. But first, more from Nina. Conservatives were okay with the FBI when it came to the Panthers, MLK, and Malcolm X. Now they have a problem with it. If you have a problem with me pointing that out, you're doing the bidding of these conservatives, which Jimmy is.
Exactly. And remember our definition of what conservatism is. It's keeping the white status quo intact, the white ideology of what? Make America great again. When they say make America great again, when has America ever been great for everybody? There's not one era in America where it was great for everybody, but there was an era where America was great for white men and to a lesser extent, but pretty much same extent, white women. That's it. So the mantra of the Conservative Party right now is racist in its inception, right? And exact conservatives, because what conservatives is, I'll say it again to drive it home, is to keep everything the way it is. We don't want any change. Remember, they don't want any social change through politics or socially. They don't want any change to happen. So when they say they have no problem, the FBI was created just because I think it was J. Edgar Hoover. You know what I'm saying? He created FBI just so there won't be any black revolutionaries. Right? So there can't be no more Marcus Garvey. So there can't be no more Panthers. So there can't be more Malcolm X, MLK, Fannie Lou Hamer, Medgar Evers. Right? These are the people that they don't want. But this nigga here is gonna tell you that black people are originally conservative. Nigga, you must have grown up in a plantation full of house niggas. Because they all, what conservatism is to keep the status quo. So black people, again, and I'll say it, are more libertarian and more progressive because they realize if we're going to not even assimilate, because this nigga has assimilate, Brandon has assimilate. If we want to live in this country, we have no problem adapting, not assimilating, adapting to. I mean, you have no choice but to adapt because you're American. You're a product of your environment, but you conscious as a black person know that you adapt certain things because it's beneficial towards you and for you, right? But we're gonna adapt these things. Look, we're not gonna sit here and admit the status quo. I'm not gonna have a business and you burn it down. I'm not gonna get what's the American dream? What's the American dream, right? To have a wife, 2.3 kids, 2.5 kids, a nice job, a house, a white picket fence, 1 to 2 cars. If you're able to get that legitimately, right, through your own sweat and tears, I should not be redlined. I should not be paying higher interest rate on my mortgage, on my automobile. There should not be problems with me getting things that an average citizen is. That's all that we're asking for. And if the status quo and the conservative, which is driven by white people, not a black person, say, nah, nigga, you're gonna have to pay more. Right? Why? They set the rules. They set the bar. And if they set the rules and you want to coexist with them, right? And you say, well, no, that's wrong. You want change. You're going to be a progressive towards change. You're going to be a libertarian to liberate the issues that you're having economically and politically. Let's continue.
And she's absolutely right about that. Now, Jimmy responded by the same stupid stuff you could experience. He quoted Nina Turner from back when Jimmy pretended, by the way, to be on the left. I've admired Jimmy from afar. He says things I can't say. There was a time when Jimmy was a pretend progressive. No longer is that the case. But he also writes in that tweet, I called her out for cheering on FBI. She didn't. There's no evidence of that. And she uses the cheapest, ugliest form of identity politics as a shield, truly repulsive. For your information,
let her finish.
She's against defunding FBI, and she sits on Cleveland Police Foundation Board. What?
So you can see there where he's basically telling, like, Brandon didn't show you that, did he? Now, did he? Right? He didn't mention all of this. right? About how, oh, I'm mad at Jimmy from afar. And that's the way he's putting, but not even Jimmy is saying, yeah, that's when me and you used to be cool. Me and you are not cool no more. I threw a rock that was telling the truth, and only time that rock is gonna hit someone's head, basically just saying, well, hey, if you're a conservative, yeah, you're gonna be hurt by what I just said. And who comes along? I don't know if anyone else responded. Another conservative responded to Nina Turner with that tweet, but Jimmy sure did. So anyway, so right here she's talking about, hey, she's against defunding FBI, and she sits on the Cleveland Foundation board. So continue.
Is the Cleveland Police Foundation board. I mean, Jimmy Dore should have looked into this, especially as a man who has a family of police officers.
And Brandon should have looked into it, since he knew that Nina Turner, right, and her husband, and that stupid idiot chick that was commenting on her, that doesn't know her, and I'm going to disparage her like that. Yeah, he should have known that, hey, Jimmy Dore is also a cop just like Nina Turner, right? So he's trying to make her feel bad, like both of y'all are cops. You know what I'm saying? But I'll let them tell it.
He should be curious enough to look into this, right? Well, he didn't, but we did. So the Cleveland Police Foundation board exists to make policing better, okay? The Cleveland Police Foundation is an alliance of business and civic leaders, law enforcement organizations, and individuals committed to the ideal that an educated, well-trained, and modernly equipped law enforcement agency leads to a safer community for all. So essentially, it's community oversight for policing in Cleveland, which we desperately need all across the country. But apparently Jimmy Dore has a problem with that, maybe because he comes from a family of cops, but I don't know. They say our mission is to strengthen the bonds between the Cleveland Division of Police and the citizens it serves, working together to make our city safer for all. To accomplish that goal, the CPF works proactively to support and invest in programs, community policing initiatives, and engagement events that foster stronger relationships between citizens and police officers and police charities. Okay. And finally, Nina Turner responds to that by saying, let me be clear, Jimmy Dore repackages anti-blackness and right-wing talking points and sells it in a way that some leftists are willing to buy, very few, by the way. He has used right-wing talking points against me multiple times and even defended Rittenhouse. He makes millions doing it. Remember.
And Brandon didn't show you that. He's not showing you the back and forth. He takes a snippet of it and make it seem like that was the end all be all. Then he expounds upon that lie and says, well, look at her, she's ratchet, she's this, she's that, right? So people, please be aware. Please look, even be aware of the things that I'm saying. Check it out for yourself, right? Check it out for yourself. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be a real man and not some pretend black man and say that, oh, I'll come on here and I'll correct it. You know what I'm saying? There's no unicorn here, right? He talks about him coming correct and correcting himself when he's proven wrong, and he has never done that. The only time he done that was with his Thomas Sorwell, which is another coon, obviously, and it was nothing really that dramatic or big. It was if I would say a misunderstanding. It really didn't undermine what he was saying as a whole. Anyway, so he's not going to show you the whole thing here, right? And like I said, Jimmy Dore, as you see in his own actions, she's not attracting centrists. She's not attacking Jimmy Dore in any way. She didn't say Jimmy Dore anything. He's going to respond to her with a lie. That's something that will only get under a conservative Republican skin. So, yes, he has right-wing talking points, and he has to secure his conservative base by attacking a black woman. So if you follow him and you see he's like, oh, he was saying some racist shit, and he's, he's a Trumper and all this other stuff, and he only criticized other people, then yes, conservatives gonna gravitate towards him. So of course, she sees what he's doing. She might play chess. I see the move that you're trying to do. That you're trying to do. I see where you're coming from. So I'm gonna call you out right now.
It was Jimmy Dore who called for an alliance with the freaking Boogaloo Boys. That's what he called for. The Boogaloo Boys, who have this, I don't know if they still do, but their whole strategy was to infiltrate Black organizations and Black Lives Matter to start a what? A race war.
Victimhood, victimhood. This is all you got, trying to. Yeah, so that's true, right? So the Boogaloo Boys, bunch of racist white supremacist group, and Oath Keepers. So on January 6th, Giuliani, that no longer he can't practice law because he lied about the electorates. He lied, right? So he's no longer can practice law ever, right? He aligned up with, because Daddy Trump said, Giuliani, we need some insurrectionists, whatever, and Giuliani was orchestrating all that. Giuliani orchestrated with the Oath Keepers and the Boogaloo Boys that helped them do January 6th. And those are, like we know, Oath Keepers, Boogaloo Boys, Proud Boys, all these other people, anyone that's on Stormfront, 4chan, and Breitbart, all those white supremacist conservative organizations. You ever notice, and I said this to Brandon, and he had to do cover for his white daddies. I said, why is it that all of the crazy, nutso, racist, anti-science groups are right-wingers? And you know what his answer was? Oh, what do they do besides say misinformation, just say racist things? He said it very nonchalant, like, what's the big deal? Now, I'm not saying they're not racist Democrats. Hell no. I ain't saying that. I learned at kind of a very early age, even though you have people that align with you, right? They can still be racist, even though, like perfect example, like Christians, Muslims, Jews, whatever. They're supposed to love everybody, but when it comes down to it, show and prove, they could be just as racist, if not even more. But the fundamental difference is that the Democrats are not supposed to be racist, and the Republicans are racist, and this is a home for you to be racist, be xenophobic, and all these other things. You have a home here, and white people could easily go over there and just do that, right? So he said that, like, what's the big deal? So again, I'm saying his whole premise is to politically and mentally to get black people black on the plantation. Because this whole thing, anytime you talk about, and I said before, about anytime a black person talks about what happens to them or what's happening to them then, now, and everything, you trauma band and you victimhood. You get nowhere with your victimhood. When we all know that's not true. And I said before in the first part, Jews, that's all they do. They live the part to the point where it is the part of their culture, but they really wear that on their sleeves. Right here in New York, you go to Bed-Stuy or all over there, Crown Heights, they dress like it's 1942. And they, before I say something and get canceled, all I'm saying is that they don't deny what happened to them. Why do you think they got so many Nazi movies? Nazi this, Nazi that. That's that, because they're about showing what the Nazis did to the Jewish people, which is tribalistic. Unless you're Whoopi Goldberg, and what I say, she pretty much told the truth. Got nothing to do with race. It got to do with one set of white people who don't like another group of white people, because these set of white people are different culturally. That's all that it was. But they were so unto themselves, right? Anyway, I can give you guys a history lesson. So what Brandon says, that he's trying to turn you guys back into Negroes. He's trying to break y'all even more. Because like I said before, the saying that I says, a nigga is nothing but a broken African. So basically, he wants to, whatever shards are remain of our psyche, he wants to, whatever pride or inkling of pride or self-respect that you have, he's trying to break that. So you go right up under Republicans and be like Candace Owens saying that black people are the most violent people in America, and be like Larry Elder saying that, oh, well, we need to forget over slavery, and white people need to get reparations and all these things, even though they already did get reparations for all the slaves that they got back during the Emancipation Proclamation. But didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I'm going to bring this to a close.
So yeah, he wants an alliance with them.
Of all the things he's done, look, everything he does these days is absolutely humiliating. But when he did the, hey, I'm for vaccines. Oh, man, those videos aren't doing well. Now I'm vaccine skeptical. Oh, those videos are doing great. I now do 20 of them. And you saw him flip-flop and appeal to the lunatic right wing right in front of your eyes. If you still think...
Like I said, right, conservatism has to do, there are not for science. Progressivism has to do, is based upon science and technology. Conservatism is resistance to change.
He's left wing. I mean, come on, man. It just is, again, no help for you. And then that old quote trick. Glenn Greenwald did that on me. Oh, this is Cenk Uygur complimenting me earlier. Yeah, when you were actually a great journalist. And that's why I'm kind of like, Jimmy's always a knucklehead. My fault for ever hiring him. I get it. Mea culpa, right? But
so I'm going to end it on that. So listen to what he says. He says, hey, because he hired him. This is the CEO of TYT. So let's go here. So this is more going to speak against the character of Jimmy Dore. Brandon loves Jimmy Dore so much. Oh my gosh, he's such a nice, principled person. And to, I'm being fair when I show Jimmy Dore and he's being attacked and racism. You know how Negroes are in racism and the trauma bonding and man, Brandon's face looked like freaking when you ever eat Cheetos and your hands is all orange and stuff like that. Like this Negro's face and lips gotta be orange, kissing Trump's ass so much using the same talking points. So right here, now this is a year old. This is when Jimmy Dore left. So I don't know if you can see it. It's a timestamp. This is June 15, 2021. Right? 2021. So it was like pretty much a little bit over a year ago when he left, right? So he didn't know he's not even telling you guys about a beef that they had. So now they're going to talk about the beef that they had after he left a little while ago for when this video was published.
Personally, Jimmy Dore used to work here. It's a decision I deeply regret. We try to expand the spectrum of what is acceptable thought. And so corporate media has it easy. They just have to ask, do you believe in the status quo? And people answer that, not explicitly, but implicitly through their answers, and then they get hired that way. We hire a wide range of folks, and sometimes it goes wrong. And Jimmy's one of those examples. So, and I found out recently about an incident that happened while he was working here. And now the person that's talking about it is Jimmy. So he has been attacking us online over and over again with nothing but lies and smears, some of which I'm going to show you right now. But we still held back. And of course it's frustrating. He was a friend, or at least I thought he was, to me and to a lot of people here. And we've been a little shell-shocked by not the disagreements. Who cares? We had disagreements when he was here. That's not an issue at all. But by honestly the lies and the smears and the attacks that were deeply personal in nature. So both Anna and I got frustrated. And at one point, she sent him a DM that Jimmy's going to talk about in this clip that we're going to show you. And it was basically saying, look, we know all these things about you that we haven't shared before, in a way of saying, we are holding back while you're going nuts.
Yeah.
Right? And so Do you have no humanity or decency? And then you're about to find out the answer to that, because this is what he said on air. But before we get to that,
Yeah,
yes,
so I want to be clear about something. So the DM that I sent him specifically called him out on his constant sexual harassment of me at this place.
Sorry, I'll have a small intermission here. I'll be right back. Just hold on. Hello, you guys hear me? Sorry about that. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's see. I kind of had to do something. Had to step away and do something. I think I'm still rocking. Anybody let me know if you can hear me or not. Let me see. Hold up. I'm going to do a bit of a sound test. Sound test.
No, you knucklehead, as it will all your back.
Looks like I'm back in business here. Again, I apologize for that. Just give me 1 minute. All right, so sorry y'all. So I'm just gonna get back into the video here, like where we left off. Ba-ba-bum. Oh wow, okay. It's supposed to be right there. All right. Again, I apologize. So let's get back to it. So basically, we had the whole apology about what Jimmy was doing. So let's go.
And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. So I sent him that message saying,
And then you're about to find out the answer to that, because this is what he said on air. But before we get to that,
yeah. So I want to be clear about something. So the DM that I sent him specifically called him out on his constant sexual harassment of me at this place at TYT. I also want to be clear that I didn't talk about it with anyone. I never talked about it with Cenk until very recently, because for obvious reasons. And so I sent him that DM because the harassment has continued. It's not sexual harassment. It's been constant harassment online that wouldn't go away. It doesn't matter if I ignore him, which some of my friends, my leftist friends, have told me, just ignore him. It'll go away. Just ignore him. Kept going and going and going, directing trolls at me nonstop. And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. So I sent him that message saying, you remember what you did to me.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that he positions himself as this moral fighter for progressive values when he and I both know the kind of behavior he engaged in when he was working here. So I wanted to give you that context.
So by the way, why didn't Anna tell me? Because I would have fired him. And no good deed goes unpunished. So she didn't tell me. He kept working here. And next thing you know, he's about to tell you a story of what happened. Now, ironically, there's lies in here too. But let us show you who Jimmy Dore actually is. Here, let's begin.
But here's how she's trying to threaten me. And I'll tell you why this is a big mistake on her part. She says, I'm sure you remember when you constantly made inappropriate comments about how sexy you found me at work, and even felt the need to ask me where I shop for my jeans so you can buy a pair for your wife so she dresses better.
Thank you.
That was followed by an apology card you wrote me for the degrading harassment. I've been holding back, letting you run your mouth nonstop as if you're some sort of warrior for what's good in the world. That's going to change. So now she's, instead of saying I'm paid by the Russians or saying I'm working for Assad, she's now going to try to pretend I sexually harassed her when I was at the Young Turks.
Now, I give you that as a lead into what he's about, the story he's about to tell you. Okay, so he claims
No, that looks crazy because as Jimmy was talking, obviously his wife was on the set, and he kept looking at his wife like, "Hope she's believing this shit." Hope she's believing this shit. Like, look, let's look at where his eyes go.
Now, I give you that as
for Assad. She's now going to try to pretend I sexually harassed her when I was at the Young Turks.
Now, I give
see where his eyes is.
you that as a lead into what he's about, the story he's about to tell you. Okay, so he claims and laughs about how Anna was pretending that he was sexually harassing her. Then we don't have to say anything else. Let Jimmy tell you what he thinks happened.
I'll tell you this story. The story about that was followed by an apology card you wrote me for degrading harassment. Anna Kasparian used to dress, when I worked there, unbelievably inappropriately for a newsroom. She looked like she was going to a rave. The skirt, one time she came into the newsroom with a skirt so short. It wasn't a pencil skirt. It was like a fluffy one too, but so short that she bent over in front of me, and I literally saw her ass and her thong. She's wearing a thong. I literally saw it. Everybody saw it. And I go, "Hey, Anna, nice news skirt." And everybody laughed. Like, they laughed louder than I thought they would. And so it humiliated her. She got humiliated in the middle of the newsroom. And I did it. And I felt bad. At that time, we were friendly. And I was just busting her balls, right, for dressing like that in a newsroom. You're going to bend over and show me your ass? I think that's a little... I'm not offended, but I think that's a little risque. Imagine if I did that. I walked around showing my ass to everybody. So when I did that, so she got...
So Jimmy likes skirts? I don't get it.
Really mad. She got humiliated. Her face turned red. She tried to insult me back, and it just fell flat, and she looked, bad. And I felt bad for her. I didn't fight. I didn't want to make her feel that, but I just wanted to make a little joke. And all I said was, "Hey, Anna, nice news skirt." And everybody in the newsroom, because everybody saw how inappropriate she dresses. She used to dress. And everybody saw it. And so that's why I got such a huge laugh, and she was so humiliated.
So he just tells a story like, haha, I humiliated her then, and now I'm going to tell you a story of how funny it was that I tried to humiliate her. Now, since it's Jimmy, half the story's not true, of course. But assume it is. That's your big hero right there that does that to women, looks up their skirt and then laughs at them and then pretends it's their fault that he's looking up their skirt. Now, parts of the story that aren't true. Of course, Anna.
That sounds about right. That's the party that Brandon is with. He's with the rapist, child pedophile, child trafficking, grabbing by the pussy group. That's who he's with. All this fake outrage about the left, trying to only thing I would say about the left is indirectly trying. I said trying to groom kids with this whole LGBTQ nonsense. But the people that are actually doing it are the right wingers. They're the ones that are actually doing it. You got your Matt Gaetz, you got your Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? You got your they don't care about rape, they don't care about sexual harassment or anything like that. You got your Roy Moores, right? You have your Brett Kavanaughs, all these men that are put in high positions for rape, not by one person, or two, multiple people, right? They've been accused for rape, and guess what? They still get the job. They still get a job. They still become president. They still become Supreme Court justices. They still are senators. All of that. So it just makes sense that Brandon would like someone like Jimmy who don't care about rapists and things like that.
That wasn't wearing a skirt that short. Of course, nobody else saw. That pervert was trying to desperately look. That's why he made apparently several comments about her body before. And by the way, who was in the room? Anna was teaching at the time, and she had brought in her students, her college students here. No, they did not laugh out loud. Jimmy, in his own mind, thinks it's hilarious to be a pervert sexual harasser like that, and thinks, oh, all the kids will love that. It'll be such a funny joke as I try to humiliate their professor in front of them.
Yeah. So the reason why he wrote the apology card was because every time he had made inappropriate comments about me at work, I ignored it. But as I was walking into the studio, because my students were supposed to watch the show, it was their final assignment, watch the show, and there was a written assignment related to the show. And as I was walking in with them, that was when he made the comment, and he didn't make a comment about a news skirt. He made a comment about how sexy my legs were in front of my students. And it was degrading, obviously, and I want my students to respect me and take me seriously. Seeing an older man that I work with talk about my body like that in front of my students was wrong. And so for the first time, I actually snapped at him and told him to never make a comment like that about me again. And so I think he realized, I think I might have gone, I think now she might actually make a big deal about this. And that's why he wrote me that apology card to basically try to calm things down. But I mean, comments continued after that. That's who he was. And he was, he pretends as if he's a fighter for progressive values. I heard the way that he spoke to producers here. He is anything but the so-called leftist that he tries to present himself to be, and his audience reflects that. His audience reflects that in the way that they responded to that video. Because anyone on the left, anyone who wants to fight for decency, to ensure that everyone lives a life of decency, wouldn't watch that video and think, oh no, that's my guy. That's who I want to side with. That's who I want to fight with. Because everything that Jimmy does on a daily basis, his entire intention is to be in deep.
So you kind of tells that story, then turns to Max. Let's notice Max's reaction, and then Jim. We love our audience. We think you guys are incredibly smart and care so much.
Watch this. I can show you how to get the sweetest deals online when you shop from major retailers like Amazon and Target.
No.
Already made a giant difference in the world. All right, look, I'm going to give you more if you weren't already convinced. He had Max Blumenthal from Gray Zone on with him. He tells that story, then turns to Max. Let's notice Max's reaction and then Jimmy's reaction, thinking, oh, this story might not have killed in the way that I thought it did. Watch.
So you kind of screwed the pooch there. But good luck. Good luck. I'm sure you'll get some libs to retweet it for you. But it will have. I don't have a manager, and I don't have a human resource department. So let's bring in Max now. Max, where would you like to take the conversation?
Yeah, this isn't really where I thought the conversation was going to go. I don't have the same history with these people, so. I have no problem with Anna Kasparian's style of dress.
Let's talk to
we don't have a dress code at the Gray Zone. People can show up however they want. I do have a problem with this campaign of McCarthyite lies. And honestly, I'm even hesitant to get in the gutter with these people.
Now, you can tell he was uncomfortable because what Jimmy had said was so awful. But understand this, okay? But
all right, guys. So I think I pretty much made my point here. Because he's trying to say that Nina Turner like one up, what I'm saying, was attacked Jimmy for no apparent reason without really going into Jimmy Dore's political commentary, the type of person that he is, and is he a credible person that you could just pretty much just like take his word for it? Is he a really honest person? So as we see right here, he is definitely someone who is on the right. Dead set on the right. He is on the right. Right? So Brandon so this is all an attempt to just do an assassin character. I'm sorry, a character assassination for Nina Turner, only simply because she's a progressive or Democrat. That's the only reason why he's doing that, right? Because and remember at the beginning he said, "Hey, I was going to do this video." Well, I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm speculating because he said it was taking a while to do that video and stuff like that. I was looking forward for him to do that video because I'm like, this is not making any sense. You know what I'm saying? I dipped and dabbed in it a little bit. I'm like, okay, I would love to see his angle, and obviously it fell flat. It's just a desperate attempt for Black people to just leave the Democratic Party. For what reason, I don't know why he would want them to leave the Democratic Party in that position. I'm not saying to stay in the Democratic Party. No. My position is, if you're going to stay in the Democratic Party, you need to have them fight. If someone say they're going to fight for you, you hold them accountable and have them fight for you, versus going to the Republican side and you got to hit a nigga hush mentality because no one wants to hear about that blackity black stuff. That's why Brandon always tell you, stop with the dick in here, get with the yeah. Why? Because once you come over to his side, those good white people that he love and serve, they don't want to hear about that slavery nonsense. They don't want to hear about you being disenfranchised. They don't want to hear about systematic racism. They want to hear about gerrymandering. They don't want to hear about redlining. They don't want to hear about none of that stuff. They don't want to hear about none of that stuff. You leave that stuff at the door. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure I made my point, and as usual, I proved that he's just full of shit, right? And that he's not honest whatsoever. He's not politically honest at all, because he would have showed you both sides. He would have showed you, hey, look, these are the true definitions of what conservatism is. This is a definition of what a Democrat is, a libertarian, a progressive. But he didn't. He didn't. He's not doing that, right? So, look, you guys can say, well, I don't think I am trolling or whatever, but I'm not. I just hate the fact that, hey, him and I were supposed to do political news together, right? He has said that. He has told me that, right? Even one time, hold on, let me go on my channel. One time I said, when he said that, I was like, oh, word, oh, cool. I would love to do that and do like a collaboration. He will have his conservative perspective and I'll have my democratic, progressive, libertarian perspective, right? That's what I wanted to do. He was like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And so I was like, you know what? I hit him up and everything, and I was waiting for him to get back to me. And he never really got back to me. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me do this is when he was doing his own little newsroom thing. I was like, you know what? Let me do a little something as like a tryout to let him know what I got, right? Because basically what it was going to be like, I'm thinking it's going to be like, all right, you come up with the topic, right? You say what you have to say about the topic, and then I will come in and give my point of view. What's up, Peach Tanzan? I give my particular point of view. That's how I thought it was going to be done. So I said, let me put a little something. I saw what he did. It was a while back. All right. Share my screen. So it was a little while back, as you see here. All right. So this is my page right here. So I was like, all right, let me do this, right? So those the videos that I had that I know he would have saw, because I know he followed me then and now. I don't care what you say.
Report.
And
This is not really.
It was, about DeSantis and what he said about Florida. I think he got so upset that I proved that he was lying, that he really didn't like. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that idea because I gotta come correct. I don't know if he thought I was like this simpleton or someone who he could easily checkmate, but he couldn't. Even when we were last talking, he was like, "Oh, what about DeSantis? He don't even do all this stuff that my boyfriend, my future husband Trump does." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Nah, I don't know about DeSantis." I didn't want to get into it, so I'm gonna give you a real quick example.
Welcome. This is your host, Coffee, from Diaspora News. Right now, I'm going to do a commentary piece on my brother's Brandon report on what's going on with Disney and DeSantis. We're supposed to be doing a channel together, so this is not really more of an audition, just a little bit of what you guys could expect and what he could expect, so he could be ready. Yeah, so he could be ready for my critique.
Well, like Tiffany Haddish says, he not ready. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna play that whole thing. Just letting you guys know that. I mean, you can check it out. This is it right here. The Arsenal News Desk versus Republican Pan-African News Desk. That's all that it was, right? So he probably didn't want to do it. He probably didn't want no part of me after that. You know what I'm saying? I say, he's my brother. He's this, that, da, da, da. It was no shade. It was like no shade. You know what I'm saying? It was no shade whatsoever. But I think he kind of, hey, look, I'm speculating because I don't know. He never came to me and said, I don't want to do nothing with you. He never said that to me, right? I just feel that he had to think twice before he come at me crazy to do it. So he wasn't really on some, let's link up. Let's do this, blah, say, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't know if anybody wants to come in here. I'll put the link in the chat. If you don't want to come in here, that's cool. I'm just glad that you're here. You're listening. So when it comes to this, I pretty much made my point. Anything that he says, I mean, it was the time that I have. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely comment on news matters if he says something crazy, if I got time, because I don't really follow him like that too hard. But if he says anything about politics that's bullshit or whatever, I'm going to be there. I'll be his personal little fucking troll. I got no problem with that. I'll be his little fucking personal troll, because to show you that he ain't no man, and to show you guys that don't follow someone like him. Now look, he has good intentions when it comes to that's the only thing I'll give him credit on. He has good intentions when it comes to, as far as like not splitting black people up with the whole FBA thing and stuff like that. And hey, look, he, regardless of someone says, he pulled up at that protest at Power or whatever, and if Tariq was there, and it was him by himself standing up against people. Ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I give him credit for that. I just wish he was just as honest with his whole position on FBA as he is politically, but he's not, and that's the thing that eggs me. So I'll be don't worry, I'm gonna check him every step of the way. I got a lot of topics, I got a lot of other things to do and stuff like that, but I'm gonna be here exposing people like him, right, politically, who's just basically anti-black politically. If you ask, if we're speaking, like we're going to speak truth to power, not saying that he's power, but we're going to speak truth to a certain matter. Yo, show and prove. Show and prove. You say something, prove it. You know what I'm saying? You can't go based upon your feelings, but you're a conservative. So I'm the conservative killer, y'all. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all vacation. Please be safe out there. You know, it's the holiday weekend. It's nuts. You know, in New York, you got the Labor Day, the Caribbean parade and stuff like that. And you know, if y'all are, anyone is coming from abroad, coming over here, you know, just be safe. Don't do no foolishness. You're gonna be at Juve. Be safe. I don't do Juve no more. I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be here chilling outside, you know, barbecuing or whatever. But thank you all for listening, and I do apologize with the technical difficulties that I had to this part and while I was doing this. But thank you all. Thank you, Tanzan. Thank you, The Cure. Thank you all and other people just for listening. And I'm gonna have way more topics. And thank you a lot. Peace. Be safe.